Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience growing up in a college town. Now, what I mean by college town is a town that is basically meant for college students of a school where there isn't a really huge local population, and everyone there is kind of like early 20s, late teens, like 18, 19, going into college, in college, like grad school. Oh, did I just trap myself? I don't really think there's a way out of here. I can jump up these. Early 20s, you know, that's kind of the general population. The town is meant for students. There's plenty of student apartment buildings. There's lots of bars and clubs and stuff, and generally a town you wouldn't expect someone to be from. What is it like growing up in said town? What is it like growing up in the location I have described? So, first things first, with working mostly like food service jobs in the area and customer service jobs, kind of interact with a lot of students on the daily, and being a person in my early 20s, people naturally assume, and rightfully assume, that I am a student, when in fact I am not. I am from the area. And it doesn't matter how we get to the conversation, but when I am helping these people out, like either like making them drinks or like serving them, or ringing them up at checkout for somewhere, something comes into topic about how, like, oh, what are you studying, how's exams going, blah 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 blah, and it always wraps back around to I'm not a student, man. I'm from this area, and it's kind of like expected that you are a student in this neighborhood, um, which is kind of crazy. Like, I'm from here. This is my home, man. I feel like there are some things that are unique to growing up in a college town, and I would like to share those things. One of the things, I just need cobblestone for the boardwalk up there. I'm not clearing this out without purpose. One of the things I feel like is unique to this experience is how lonely it is. Um, I live in a neighborhood that is full of student renters and almost no homeowners. I live with my parents. My dad is one of the only homeowners in the neighborhood. And that alone is really weird. During summers, students all leave and the streets get really empty. And during winter, the streets are really clear, all the students are gone. It's just a bunch of vacant, empty houses. It's dead. There's not a soul in sight. All the cars are gone. My house is the only one with a few like cars in front of it. It's very very lonely at times. Growing up about like from ages 0 to like 18, I would say it was very lonely because there's nobody my age. Nobody my age. Not a single other kid. There were, when I was little, like maybe being 10, there were like, there were a few other homeowners. They gradually disappeared. This music is really loud. It's nice, but it's just, I can't hear myself think. You know what? I want smoke. Come here. There were no other kids, no other people my age growing up in the neighborhood. Maybe for like 1 to 2 years there was. And I would go over to their house. They lived like a couple blocks away. But eventually, their house got bought up by landlords. That was fun. It was a very weird feeling watching, like, for instance, my neighbors. I had two neighbors that, like, oh, there's my phone, sorry. Two neighbors across the street from me that, I kind of like not grew up with, because that's not how it happened. It was like maybe when I was like 5 to 10, I had two neighbors there, and one of them I would dog sit for, which was kind of fun. And they're gone. And growing up, I kind of like wondered, why is this happening? What's going on? Where is everyone going? Landlords buying their houses. It's just, it's very, very weird. It's very weird having a rotating crowd. So every 2 to 4 years, there's a complete, like, well, every year, really, there's a bunch of graduates, and everybody moves out. People change housing locations. No one, there are no repeat renters. There are no repeat people that live in the same location year after year. And it's weird because, you think you live in a neighborhood, you think, oh, I'm going to know my neighbors, I'm going to make friends with them, I'm going to like have them over for cookouts and stuff. And like if I'm talking out of my ass, like if this isn't what you do with your neighbors in your neighborhood, I don't know, because I've never had genuine like neighbors for longer than like a few years of my life. And you'd expect to come to know your neighbors, whether you hang out with them and talk to them or you just see them around, like go into their car or something. But it's not the same people every year. It's a really weird feeling. You never know who's gonna show up. You never can get to know them because they're just gonna be gone next year. So like, why bother? It's weird. It's a weird feeling. It's very, I don't want to say isolating, but it's definitely isolating. How did I make do? What did I do to kind of combat this? Well, I was outside a lot still as a kid. Whether I would ride my bike or skate, because I was skating when I was little too. It was pretty cool. I had some friends from the neighborhood next door neighborhood, and that was close enough to walk there. Granted, those people did not grow up in that environment, and it made it hard to relate to them at times. I was bullied quite a bit in school, which was fun. Not necessarily because I grew up in a college town, but I'd say the gap, like the upbringing, the gap in upbringing didn't help. One thing that's really saddening about living here is that there's constant construction. Roads are being changed, roads are blocked off, buildings are demolished, and student housing and apartments are built. I've had many nostalgic buildings, and more specifically small businesses, be torn down for massive student trap apartments that are like 1,500 a month. It's insane. It's really sad. Like, I'm basically watching places I went, my childhood, get stripped from me right before my eyes. And I don't know. I understand things change, things happen, people grow up, places change. But I didn't expect it all to happen so quickly. And for it to be so many apartments that are already very unaffordable, I don't know how people are affording them, especially students. It's really weird. I'm gonna look at my notes. I have more talking points because I'm planning on making a full video about this thing, about this topic, video essay thingy. Oh, this kind of an interesting one. How party culture was ruined for me by a young age. Party culture, going to like house parties and like drinking a bunch of beer and making a fool of yourself. I have seen so many dumb things in this area, and specifically involving like alcohol. I have seen like the worst of the worst. Just like people pissing in the street. That's not the worst of the worst. This is like one day in Baltimore type activities, but um people pissing in the street, fights, all kinds of shit. And like I would see this growing up from a young age, and it would kind of like editor sync here, not to mention the sheer amount of trash and litter and beer cans that I see all over the goddamn town. I'll put a video here if I can get one. Put me off. Like, oh, these. Oh, another thing I mentioned earlier is the really loud house parties. Really, really, really loud house parties. You can hear the bass all the way turned up from like 3 blocks away. And, you know, I'm used to it now, but it was really annoying having like school the next day, fucking elementary school the next day, and the next door neighbors, or even like a block down, have the music so loud that I just can't sleep. So all of this BS kind of left a really bad taste in my mouth with party culture, and I would say drinking as a whole, even though I'm quite the fan if you've ever watched a stream of mine. Another thing I would say is that involving alcohol especially is like, this place is my home. I'm protective of my home. I love my city and my town I live in. But when there are a lot of students that come from out of town and they get drunk or intoxicated or even sober, they come in and they treat it like their playground, and they just completely disregard. Editor sync here again. I just wanted to say this isn't all students. I've met some amazing people and great friends. The fact that people live here, even with other students, like the students still live here. This is still also their town. They come here and they trash it and they leave beer cans all over the yard, all over the street. There's shattered glass in the streets. People's pets can step on that. People can run it over with their cars. It's terrible. I've seen people literally throw, like, people just litter, just right broad daylight. Well, it was nighttime, but like the nightlife here is really, really, really active. What am I doing? I'm just kind of doing shit. I've seen people just litter like broad daylight, like in front of people. Like, this, you're not going to do that in your own, well, maybe you are, because you're already littering to begin with, so I don't put it past you, but you're just trashing a place that you're not from, and you are, I would presume that you're trashed your hometown too, because that kind of like trait passes on. But like, you're just coming here treating it like a playground and just having no respect for your surroundings. This isn't even about being in my hometown anymore. This guy that I watched do this is just stupid, man. Don't litter, kids. I don't know. It's really silly. Sorry to end abruptly. The rest of the video was kind of me just rambling, but thank you all so much for watching. I have more thoughts on this topic. If you found it interesting, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord in the description.